So, after the first part of the story...
Yeah. It wasn't a chameleon that bit anybody. So the dog bit the goldsmith. So why is this story called a chameleon? What's a chameleon?
Well, chameleon is kind of like a lizard, right? The lizard that can change color to be camouflaged, in the nature. So if they're kind of like sitting on the green leaf, they will turn green, and then they will change to different colors. But right here, there's no chameleon in the story. But I think they're talking about the chief of police.
Right, because what a chameleon does, it adapts to the environment or the situation.
That's right.
So we see the chief of police here. Now that he knows the general is the owner of this dog.
And he gets nervous.
He doesn't want to blame the general, so he says, oh, I'm sure the dog is innocent. It must be the goldsmith. He's the one who must have done something wrong.
So Chameleon, the chief of police, is like a chameleon, right? He's kind of like two-faced. He's always changing his story to adapt to the environment, right?
Right. So that's not a good thing to be a chameleon then, is it?
Well, I guess. I don't know. And especially when he's the police, right?
Yeah. I guess it depends on how you're being a chameleon. If you're being a chameleon by trying to adapt to the situation in a good way, then it's okay. But if you're just trying to escape blame or you don't want to get in trouble, then maybe that's not a very good way to be a chameleon.
Are you a chameleon?
I think everybody's at least a little bit of a chameleon, right?
Okay, I guess maybe I'm a little bit.
We all have to adapt to our environment.
You're right. All right, let's go into today's story.
Okay.
How could this tiny dog reach your finger if you were minding your own business?
Chameleon asks Hyrukin. Someone in the crowd answers that they saw Hyrukin anger the dog by sticking a cigarette in its face. Hyrukin starts to deny this, but he's interrupted by Yeldarin. Yeldarin says that the dog isn't General Zygalov's. Very quickly, Chameleon agrees. He points out that the general would never bother with a dog like this one. But just as Chameleon decides they must kill the dog, Yeldarin remembers seeing a similar dog on the general's property.
Hi everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. This is Karen.
Welcome everybody, I'm Shane. All right, so today we're doing part 2 of a chameleon.
That's right.
So we left off with the goldsmith being bitten by a dog, and then the chief of police,
Chameleon.
Yeah, so he first thought, oh, that must be the dog's fault. But then he found out that, ooh, this is the general's dog.
And then he said, oh, no, I think the dog is innocent.
Oh, the dog must be innocent, yeah.
So we know the chameleon is actually the chief of police, right?
That's what we're thinking. Okay, so he said, how could this tiny dog reach your finger if you were minding your own business? It kind of makes sense. If you're just minding your own business, why would the dog run over and jump and bite your finger?
That's right.
Right? I mean, that seems kind of logical too. Okay, so Chameleon asks Hyrukin.
Someone in the crowd answers that they saw Hyrukin anger the dog by sticking a cigarette in its face. That is horrible.
They just like stuck the cigarette in his face like that? That would probably burn, maybe burn the dog, so the dog would be scared.
That's right. And what is a cigarette? That's really, really mean.
Well, we know a cigarette is just tobacco rolled in a paper, and people smoke that, right?
And it's bad for your health.
Filthy, horrible habit. So for example, many doctors say that cigarettes are bad for your health.
Definitely.
I don't think it's just many doctors. I would think that every doctor would say that cigarettes are bad for your health, right?
Exactly, and it's definitely not okay to stick a cigarette in the dog's face.
Because the tip of it will be hot. It's burning.
Exactly.
Right? It's a weapon.
So Hyrukin starts to deny this. When he says deny, like when he starts to deny, that means no, no, I didn't do that.
Says,
I didn't
yeah,
do that.
That's not true. That's not true.
Exactly. But he's interrupted by Yeldrin. Interrupt is our next vocabulary word, and it's a verb. It's just
What?
stop.
What?
Like right now, what you're doing right now. You are interrupting me.
Sorry.
It is to stop a person from speaking, and which is kind of rude, right?
Right.
Okay, so in our example sentence, it says, Charlie has a bad habit of interrupting people while they're talking.
I won't do that anymore.
Thank you. Please wait for your turn.
I'll be a good boy.
So he was interrupted by Yeldrin, the person who's working along the side of the Chameleon, right?
Right.
Yeldrin. Yeldrin says that the dog isn't General Zigalov's. Oh.
Okay, so now there's new information. Actually, the dog isn't the general's dog.
Okay, but wait a minute. And then it continues on saying, very quickly, Achemilov agrees. He points out that the general would never bother with a dog like this one.
So bother. Why would somebody bother? So this is a verb. To make the effort to do something. So if you bother to do something, it means you make an effort to do it. For example, no one bothered to tell me that the picnic was canceled.
Aww, so you still went by yourself.
Yeah, that was really sad. I was at the picnic all by myself. Why didn't you bother to tell me?
I'm sorry. Maybe I was busy. I didn't make the effort to do that, right? So when someone didn't bother to do something, they didn't really put in the effort to do it.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But just as Achmelov decides they must kill the dog, Yeldrin remembers seeing a similar dog on the general's property. So now he changes. Oh, wait, actually, I did see a dog that looks just like this on the general's property.
Because similar is like a dog that looks like this dog, right?
Right.
Okay,
so
on the
property.
On general's property. Property is our next vocabulary word, and that is a noun. It's got objects that belong to someone, or actually, in today's case, on general's property, maybe where they live.
Right.
Right?
That means that the object here is the land, and he owns that land. It belongs to him, so you could say that's his property.
Exactly. So in our example sentence, it says, my uncle owns several properties in the city. Wow, so that means he's probably very wealthy.
Yeah. If you own a lot of properties in any big city, you probably have a lot of money.
That's right.
Okay, so the story is getting more and more interesting. This chameleon is probably going to change his mind again, isn't he?
I have no idea, but he really is a chameleon after all.
Yeah.
Okay, how about let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
I can't wait.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们第一天的课文最后读到，警察局长一听到那只狗狗的主人可能是 Zigalov 将军，他的态度马上就转变了。他就问 Harukin 说：“如果他是在做自己的事情，那只狗狗怎么会碰到他的手指呢？”那么接着人群中就有人回答说，他有看到 Harukin 把一根香烟放到狗狗的脸上，然后激怒了那只狗。正当 Harukin 他要开始否认这件事，他就被警官 Yeldrin 打断了。警官 Yeldrin 说，那只狗不是 Zigalov 将军的。局长呢听了马上就表示赞同，还说将军绝对不会费心思养一只像这样的狗啦。然后不过就在这个局长决定要杀掉那只狗的时候，警官 Yeldrin 又想起，在将军的地产上有看过一只类似的狗。同学们应该都猜得到，接下来警察局长的态度又要180度大转变了吧？不晓得他接下来会说出什么荒谬的话。我们来看单字 cigarette 就是香烟。Shane 老师刚刚说这个抽烟是很糟的习惯，他用到 filthy 这个字 ，filthy。filthy 这个字呢，它可以形容是肮脏的、污秽的，也可以用来形容是极坏的、非常糟的。下一个单字 interrupt 它表示打断、插嘴，是个动词。bother 则有费心、烦心或者是操心的意思。那么 property 它表示房产、地产或是资产。这边两个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 if 引导与现在事实相反的假设句时 if 子句的动词要用过去式。那来看句型式 ，if 主词加上过去式动词或者是 were， 逗号主词加上 would、could、should 或是 might， 再加原形动词。例如 ，If I were you, I would do the same。如果我是你，我会做同样的事。那注意这里的 I 后面不是用 was， 而是一律用 were。好，再看下一个例句哦。If I won the lottery, I might donate half of the money to charity。如果我中乐透，我可能会把一半的钱捐给慈善机构。那第二个重点是 remember， 它是指记得、记住，后面接动名词 VING 或者是不定词 to V 的时候，表达的意思不同哦。首先来看 remember 加上动词 ing， 它是表达记得曾经做过某件事，这件事情已经被执行过了哦。那么 remember 加上 to 加原形动词，则是表达记得要去做某件事，这件事还没有被执行。好，例如I remember closing the door before leaving。我记得我离开前有关门哦。Please remember to close the door before leaving。离开前请记得关门哦。那么接着回课文中。
Depending on who he believes to be the dog's owner, Chameleon has a different answer for whether the dog should live or die. Finally, the general's cook arrives on the scene with the truth. The cook says that this dog isn't General Zigalov's, but instead belongs to the general's brother, another powerful man. After hearing this, Chameleon quickly compliments the dog and laughs about the whole incident. As the cook leaves to return the dog to its owner, Chameleon threatens to hurt Harukin for making a scene. The crowd laughs at the goldsmith and his injured finger.
Welcome back, everyone.
I cannot wait to find out what happens now. I want to see what Chameleon is going to say.
Exactly.
Now we know that there is a similar dog on the general's property.
But it probably doesn't belong to the general, right?
Well, we don't know that. I mean, it's on his property, so it might be the general's or the general's family member or something.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, let's read on and find out, okay? Depending on who he believes to be the dog's owner, Chameleon has a different answer for whether the dog should live or die. And that's why he is a chameleon.
That's the point, right? He keeps changing his mind depending on what knowledge he's finding out, right?
And that is
who
not
owns
right.
this dog?
He is the police. He should, find out the fact and do what is right, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, the general's cook arrives on the scene with the truth. Yes, we get to find out the truth.
Finally, we're going to find out who this dog belongs to. But the most important thing is to find out how is Chameleon going to react
You're right.
to this. That's going to be the interesting part.
Okay, so what does the cook say?
The cook says that this dog isn't General Zigalov's, but instead belongs to the general's brother, another powerful man.
Oh my goodness.
So it's another power. It's not the general, but it's his brother, who's also very powerful. So I think we know what Chameleon is going to do, right? Okay.
I think I know.
Chameleon. After hearing this, Chameleon quickly compliments the dog and laughs about the whole incident. Oh, what a good dog. I would never doubted you for a moment, you wonderful dog.
So he compliments the dog. Compliments means saying something nice about someone.
Yeah.
So if I say, hey, you look really nice today, that's giving you a compliment.
Thank you very much for the compliment. So it really seems like he's kind of a hypocrite, right?
Yes, he
That's
is.
another thing, like a chameleon's kind of like a hypocrite.
You're right. Okay, as the cook leaves to return the dog to its owner, Chameleon threatens to hurt Harukin for making a scene. So now he's pointing everything. He's pointing his finger back at Harukin now. And he's saying, hey, why did you make such a scene, okay? It was just nothing and you probably did something wrong.
Yeah, we know it wasn't this great dog here. This dog is a wonderful dog. He would never bite you because now he knows that a powerful man owns this dog.
That's right.
So threaten means to tell someone that you will kill or hurt them or cause problems if they do not do what you want.
Which is a crime, isn't it? To threaten someone, and if they don't listen to you, you're going to hurt them. That is definitely a crime.
Well, I mean, a crime, it's not necessarily like against the law always, right?
But definitely not something good.
It's not something good. For example, the boy threatened to hit a teacher, so his parents were called to the school. So you could definitely get in trouble. Maybe the boy's not going to go to jail for threatening them, but he's going to get in trouble. It's never good to threaten people.
Exactly. So the crowd laughs at the goldsmith. They laugh at Harukin and his injured finger.
Oh, you stupid man. Look at your finger. You deserved that.
Aww. So the crowd actually just listens to what Chameleon says, right?
Yeah, Chameleon is just going to take the side of the powerful person.
Exactly.
So the goldsmith is not powerful, right? So
whatever really happened or the fact does not really matter to Chameleon, right?
What do you think?
So we have this what do you think question.
Yeah.
And today the question is, what is the author trying to say? What do you think?
What do you think the author is trying to say here?
Well, maybe the author is trying to say that, you know, whoever has the power can really decide your fate.
It could be that, but it can also, I mean, I think human nature, I think the author is telling us something about human nature. In fact, everybody is going to adapt themselves to the situation. And of course, if you know new information, for example, that this dog belongs to a friend or somebody who's powerful, it's going to change the way that you think. That's not necessarily a good thing. In this situation, it's a bad thing, but it's human nature.
True.
Humans just do that. So I think he's telling us something about human nature.
I guess you're right, but I still believe that it is possible. Yes, it's in human nature to do that, but I think people, especially if you work in the law enforcement, if you're the police, it's important to find out what the truth actually is, right? So you can make the right judgment.
Like the objective truth.
Yes, you cannot be subjective. You have to be objective, right?
Yeah.
You have to do what is right.
So maybe he is saying that, or maybe he's just telling us that for humans, it's hard for us to become objective. We are very subjective because things affect us.
That's right, but it's always a goal that we can work towards.
No matter what the author is saying, it really causes you to think, and it's really interesting.
I know.
Wow, what a good story.
I know, I really liked it. Okay, I guess we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.
好，这一位警察局长 Chameleon 对那只狗的死活啊有不同的答案，这就取决于他认为谁是狗的主人。接着，将军的厨师带着真相来到现场了，他就说啊，那只狗不是 Ziegler 将军的，狗主人其实是将军的兄弟。那位兄弟也是一位有影响力的人哦。然后警察局长听了，马上就称赞那只狗啊，你好乖啊，然后对整件事情一笑置之。最后还认为是 Harukin 自己在那边当众大吵大闹，因而威胁要伤害他。好，单字 threaten 它就表示恐吓、威胁，是个动词。那看到这里，同学们应该都知道课文标题里面的变色龙是在讲谁了吧？老师们觉得那一位警察局长是个伪君子。那身为执法人员，应该要找出真相，坚守客观立场，而不是像变色龙一样变来变去。老师们这时候用到 hypocrite 这个字 ，hypocrite hypocrite 表示伪善者、伪君子。还有用到 objective。objective， 这是形容客观的。如果你把字首 ob 改成 sub， 变成 subjective， 则是形容主观的。再来 law enforcement 表示执法部门、执法单位，其中的 enforcement 是拼作 enforcement， 这个名词呢，它本身有实施啊、实行或是执行的意思。好，这边两个重点，我们进入文法时间。 好，我们来看第一个重点是独立分词片语 depending on， 它表示取决于什么，依据什么。那它的后面可以接名词或名词子句，例如 depending on the weather, we might stay for an extra day or two。我们可能会多待1-2天，这取决于天气情况。那么第二个重点是 believe 受词 to be something 是表达认为什么什么是什么。举例来说 ，Dana believes him to be her Prince Charming。Dana 认为他是她的白马王子。好啦，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
How could this tiny dog reach your finger if you were minding your own business?
Chameleon asks Hyrukin. Someone in the crowd answers that they saw Hyrukin anger the dog by sticking a cigarette in its face. Hyrukin starts to deny this, but he's interrupted by Yeldarin. Yeldarin says that the dog isn't General Zigalov's. Very quickly, Achamielov agrees. He points out that the general would never bother with a dog like this one. But just as Achamielov decides they must kill the dog, Yeldarin remembers seeing a similar dog on the general's property. Depending on who he believes to be the dog's owner, Achamielov has a different answer for whether the dog should live or die. Finally, the general's cook arrives on the scene with the truth. The cook says that this dog isn't General Zigalov's, but instead belongs to the general's brother, another powerful man. After hearing this, Achamielov quickly compliments the dog and laughs about the whole incident. As the cook leaves to return the dog to its owner, Achamielov threatens to hurt Hyrukin for making a scene. The crowd laughs at the goldsmith and his injured finger.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen.
I'm Kim.
We're going to play a game called Word Drop, where each of us has 3 words or phrases that we have not looked at yet. We're going to try to work these into a conversation as smoothly as possible, and I think you should go first.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So, you know, when we start to play these games and you do the intro, and I appreciate that. That's the nice thing for you to do, because I'll probably mess it up.
You're welcome.
But I really like that. But it really bothers me that you made me go first.
Oh, I'm really sorry that I was a gentleman and made you, as a lady, to go first. I was just brought up to be polite like that. And speaking of being polite, it's like whenever people come over to my place, I'm usually very hospitable. I invite them in. I'm like, you know, make yourself at home. I'm not gonna be mean and be like, hey you, get off my property.
Well, if you invited them over in the first place, then I imagine you standing there shouting, get off my property would be really weird. But, you know, I guess I could see certain situations where you would tell somebody to, you know, get off your property because you're really mad at them, or they ate your food in the refrigerator, or they kicked your cat, or made a mess, or something like that, right? So I guess depending on the situation, you might, you know, scream, get off my lawn.
You know what else I don't like on my lawn? Trash. I don't like trash. I don't like things that don't belong there. The only things that belong on lawns are gnomes and plants and grass and squirrels. Those are the only things that should be on a lawn. No trash, and definitely not cigarettes.
Okay, yeah, you know, I can understand that, because when it's your property, you're really picky about, you know, who you let come into your house and what kind of things you have. And sometimes if you live in certain neighborhoods, and people are really intense about how you keep your house. The grass has to be this length, or you can't put something in the backyard or something, or else then your neighbors will get crazy and they will form a homeowners association and they will threaten you.
Oh, I do not like threats. I definitely do not like people who are rude and tell me what to do. And I think it's just one of the worst things in the world. One of the worst feelings is, can you say something right now? Can you say it?
Okay.
Don't interrupt.
I'm scared now.
Don't be rude and don't interrupt people when they talk.
See you next time.